In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a motion blur to your image. This example here, we're going to create a zoom effect. First thing we want to do is make a selection to the image that we want to have in focus. So it's going to be the child as well as part of the amusement ride that the child is in. You need to choose the quick selection tool, which is the fourth tool down in the toolbox, or the shortcut key is W. You have a single selection, add to selection, minus selection in your options dialog. Use the add to selection. Click and drag into the area that you want to have in focus. So it'll be part of this ride as well as the child. If there are areas that are part of the selection that you do not need, you could either manually click on the minus selection or hold the option key and it automatically changes to the minus selection. So at the top of the head here, we want it to refine a little bit further, as well as this child's back. Next, click on the Refine Edge button. Select Smart Radius. Increase the radius so that the selection of your mask is going to be much more subtle and refined. You can also increase the smoothness of that edge, as well as the feathering. So this is a subtle transition between where the mask and the image is going to be taking place. The output to selection will be new layer with layer mask. Select OK. You now have a new layer with the layer mask. Unfortunately, the layer mask is in the wrong direction, so we need to invert it. So you just need to double click on the layer mask. You'll get into the properties panel and then select invert. Once that is done, just simply click on the visibility of your background layer. Go back to your top layer, make sure that that image is selected. Go to the Filters menu, Blur, Radial Blur. In Radial Blur, you have a few options, a spin method or a zoom method. This example here, we'll use the zoom method. Choose a point to which the zoom will take place, also the amount of that zoom. You can click OK when you are ready to make that selection. If that selection isn't what you want it to be, you can just simply back the stage up, so press Command Z to undo that. You can also use the Option Command F key to go back to the last filter that you were working with, which was our radial blur. You can make a further adjustment by rearranging that. Click OK. And now we have a nice blur that we're focusing on. Now if there's certain parts of your mask that you're not necessarily happy with, like for instance, as part of the pole we want to have in focus that the child is holding, we can simply click on the layer mask and we need to paint away that effect of the blur. So we need to make sure that black is the top swatch. If your two swatches are not black and white, you can press the D key for default and then the X key to switch from white to black. So we want black to be on top. Use the brush key. We can also increase and decrease the size of the brush by using the right and left bracket. The opacity we can increase and decrease. I'm going to use about 50% opacity and then just start to paint in the detail back into the pole to have that detail there. You can continue with other areas of your picture. Next stage is we can edit this image a little bit further, maybe make a soft glow to it. So what we want to do is go back to the background image. We're going to duplicate this layer. Shortcut key for that is Command J. Simply click on the layer and then drag it to the very topmost layer. Go to the Filters menu, click on Blur, Gaussian Blur. This will soften the edge of the image. Somewhere between a range of 10 and 20% works well. You want to still be able to recognize the image but have a nice soft focus. We'll change the blend mode from normal to soft light. This will give a nice, soft, darker glow to it. You can then decrease the opacity of this effect to suit your needs. We can click on the visibility of the before and after so it gives a little bit nice, soft effect to this zoom. Click on the very bottom layer, hold the Option key. This is our before, hold the Option key again, our after.